Hi, I'm Ed. In this video, I'd like to share my experience troubleshooting a check engine light that comes on this 1992 Ford Ranger with extended cab. It's a custom, and it contains a 3.0 liter engine, 6-cylinder, with an automatic transmission. It has 67,000 miles on it. So let's start it up. Let's see if we can time this and see when that light comes on. I'm going to take it for a ride. I can only get the light to come on while driving it, never just sitting here idling. Well, there it is. It seems that after I drive it for about 5 minutes it comes on, and it's about when it comes up to temperature. The 1992 Ranger, even though it's 2 decades old, has an onboard computer that runs onboard diagnostics, and when the diags detect a failure, it illuminates the service engine light, and then the computer assigns a numeric code to the problem. To retrieve the code or codes, you need a code reader. In this case, I'm going to use an OBD1 code reader made by Innova. It's the model 3145. It connects via the EEC-IV test connector, which is right there, and you can tell it's the EEC-IV connector because it has this extra single female lead here. So you connect it like this. And now that the tester is connected up to the EEC-IV test connector, let's turn the ignition on, but not start it. Next, we want to turn the tester on. The 3 zeros is normal, and we want to test it. And you hear the relays and solenoid click. That bottom triangle means that it's linked to the computer. The blinking square means that it's retrieving codes. The 111 is the first pass. It's done all of its tests. Now it's going to retrieve the continuous memory codes from the computer. At 10, that's good. There's the blinking square. That's retrieving the codes. Let's see what we get here. Okay. There's our first fault code, a 172. You can see the C up in the top right corner. That means that this is retrieving codes from contiguous memory, or sorry, continuous memory. And when the square stops blinking, that means that it's done. It's done retrieving codes. So at that point, we can turn this off. And disconnect it and turn the ignition off. On this tester, it's important that after you retrieve the codes and turn it off, that you do disconnect it next from the test connector before turning the ignition off. If you do if I went and I turned the ignition off right now, I would lose the codes. So we want to disconnect this and then turn off the ignition. Okay, let's see what we're getting here. Turn this on and we'll go through the memory codes. That's normal. There it is. We're getting a 172. Okay, a 172. That is a heated exhaust gas oxygen sensor, fault lean, O2 sensor. So since this vehicle has 67,000 miles on it, I wanted to start with the basics first, and I just replaced the distributor cap. And you can see that this distributor cap definitely needed replacing. Look at the corrosion on the contacts. So I got that replaced. And then here's the rotor, and I actually did try to burnish this, but even after burnishing it, you can still see that it's definitely, it needed to be replaced also. So next I'm going to start with the spark plugs. Six cylinder. So I've got cylinder 1 right here in the front, 1, 2, 3 in the back, and then 4, 5, and 6. This side looks like it's going to be easy to replace. I shouldn't say that, but it looks like these plugs won't be too difficult to replace. This side here, it looks like 1 and 2 are going to be okay, but 3 in the back is going to be difficult. I may have to access that through the wheel well. So I'll get started with that right now. These are the spark plugs for cylinders 4, 5, and 6, and they don't actually look too bad. To get to the number 3 spark plug, I actually had to jack it up, and then once I jacked it up, there's access right through here, right there. Well, cylinder 3 spark plug was no fun. It seems to have been like burned in there, like a lot of carbon around the this end right here. The plug electrode looks okay, but just where it was in there, it came out. It was a bugger to get out. I had to loosen the whole wheel well just so I could get a better angle. But I finally got it out. I got the new one in. It just wasn't very pretty. A 172 fault code is for the right bank of the engine, which is the right side here, cylinders 1, 2, and 3. Underneath, we can see the O2 sensor right there for the right bank, and there's the O2 sensor for the left bank. And looking at it, now it's hard to tell, but it doesn't look like it's been replaced in a while, so I'm gonna take that off. We'll take a look at it, and maybe swap it out, see if that takes care of the problem. And here's the O2 sensor from the right side. Looks like it possibly is the original. If you go to the Bosch site and type in the 92 Ford Ranger, look for the oxygen sensor, then select the engine type, 3.0 liter 182 CID V6, you'll see that it calls out the 15719. Now the 15719, if we look at the specifications on it, we'll see that it's 25.2 inches long. It says wire harness length. So that is about 5 inches longer than the 15718. Here's the 15718 oxygen sensor, and if we look at the specs on it, it says that the wire harness length is 20.1 inches. That's for the 15718. Okay, this top sensor here, that's the original O2 sensor, and as I measure it from the top of the threads here all the way to the end of the connector, I get 19 3/8 inches. If I measure the new Bosch sensor, the 15718, if I measure it from the top of the threads here to the end of the connector, I get under 19 inches. So the Bosch 15718 is actually almost a ½ inch shorter than the original, and it's a fairly tight fit as it is, so hopefully this new one's going to fit. If it doesn't fit, then the 15719, which is about 5 inches longer, that would have been the way to go. Here's the connector for the right bank O2 sensor, or bank 1, whichever you prefer to call it. Cylinders 1, 2, and 3. It's back there by the distributor cap, and it looks like there may be a little bit of play, so it looks like, we'll see, but it looks like we should have enough. Well, the Bosch 15718 does fit in this 3.0 liter engine. You just want to make sure, of course, that you connect the connectors together first, then drop the O2 sensor down, and then at that point screw it into the exhaust pipe. Okay, the O2 sensor on the right side has been replaced, and I've taken this for a long ride, and no more service light. I just put the tester on there, and let's see, as we take a look at the memory here, we see no codes. The 111 and the 10 are normal, so no codes. The O2 sensor right side had taken care of the problem. I just want to say something about that. Now, if we were getting a 172, which is for the right side, and a 176, which is for the left side, then I would have looked at things that are more common, like the mass airflow sensor, or a leak between the mass airflow sensor to the intake manifold. Of course, there could be a intake manifold gasket that could be a problem. So that's if we were getting the 172 and 176 together. But with just the 172 by itself, then definitely go after the O2 sensor.